Dearest delegates, student officers, MUN advisors, press corps, administrative staff, friends, and guests. It is with great privilege, pleasure, and honor that I welcome you to the opening ceremony of Paris on United Nations. In this 14th session of PAN, our theme is enhancing local standards for the expanding population. Our focus stems from the core conflict in the 21st century man, a narrative that is increasingly tainted by humans that are afflicted by inhumanity. This existence is often a product of our own stagnating standards, becoming archaic with recent developments, or worse, crumbling under the pressure that they are now being placed under. Through this, we witness grave human rights abuses, discrimination founded on weak pillars such as sexuality, gender, or race, poverty rates that drive people to their knees in hopes of pity as a catalyst for a brighter future, widespread disregard for basic human rights such as food, shelter, or water. These are all the phenomena that run rampant in our world today. The comfort and security we live in is just an endangered percentage, concentrated at the top and leaving the majority of society vulnerable and in need. And in the time of globalized social media, we are the youth who constantly witness these struggles, on our screen, between the 5 p.m. news and dinner. Our standards for society are slipping, and the ramifications of these quakes have manifested themselves in all spheres of our existence. Health, environment, security, human rights, politics, but now in policy. See, this degradation knows no class, no boundary, no social or economic stratification, no race, no religion. In fact, it is our common story that is irreversibly stained and continues to be scarred by the screams of the 700,000 that die annually due to counterfeit malaria or tuberculosis drugs, the equivalent death toll of 4 jumbo jets crashing every day. We are sealed into silence by the frustrated protests of the youth from London, Hong Kong, and Sierra Leone, who are frustrated by the rising unemployment rates despite their dedication to education throughout their lives. And we certainly cannot procure dignity to hand back an apology to the 1 in 3 women who are beaten, coerced into sex, or otherwise abused in their lifetime. Moreover, these declining standards are being met with an increasing population. Today, there are 7 billion of us, but it is estimated that by 2045, there will be 9 billion. With this increase, there is added physical burden on the planet, but also increased pressure on those who aim to solve the planet's problems. With a larger population, inequities are exacerbated, disrespect is magnified, and our descending ideals are exaggerated. The daily addition of 200,000 people to our world clearly stresses our finite systems, but it also forces us to reflect upon the efficiency of our current strategies. Our modern world, though, is not a desolate wasteland. In fact, there are many reasons to rejoice, reasons to be proud of our history and heritage, many achievements to celebrate for the future. Yes, there are cries, there are pleas, there are screams, all amplified by the urgency of population growth. But in our chorus, there are voices of negotiation, of consensus, and of compromise which have emerged. In our cacophony of problems, we can hear the murmurs for a new melody of men, one with great talent and possibility. In the past 7 years, the international community has made many strides in great areas to create and modernize our standards. These initiatives are driven through individual stories, simple and earnest people who aim to make a complex and permanent change. People like Bob Frey, who use solar power to aid education initiatives in Burundi, or Diana Marzik, a teenager in Moldova who created web applications to allow the visually impaired to use such technology. Above all, pioneers such as these, those who push our society forward, directly assess and have a distinct viewpoint on the challenge that the daily addition of 200,000 people poses. Instead of it being a symbol of depletion or of exhaustion, the new 200,000 that meet us every 24 hours should actually be looked at as a blessing. New ideas, new solutions, new cultures that can now percolate so that true resolutions can be found. In fact, it has been exactly 200,000 years since we, as humans, started expressing different phenotypes, various physical representations of our diversity, although at the base we're still unified by the very same code. The 200,000 and the subsequent 9 billion is really a figure representing opportunity and potential, and it is by embracing and capitalizing on our differences in ideology, in experience, perhaps in priority, for a common goal that we too can be the engineers of change. We are not the first chapter in this story of man to be plagued by such problems. The pangs of fear created by Ebola were echoed not 30 years ago with the malaria epidemic, with the polio epidemic. The disgust and distrust we shake with in regards to our own brothers slaughtering each other over race or religion in the Middle East was so prevalent just a decade ago in the Rwandan genocide. But we have nearly eradicated polio, and Rwanda is clearly on the path to recovery. And we today are not only the climax of human population growth, but the climax of human existence, the pinnacle of intelligence, communication, and opportunity. This weekend we have convened in Paris, an exceptional city. And yes, while it has been known for centuries for its beauty, it has also been known as the birthplace for innovative thought that has often shaped the very course of history. UNESCO, as a venue, perfectly embodies this Parisian flair, for as an organization, it is notorious for its creative intelligence. And by walking these halls this weekend, we accept the duty to uphold this legacy. Our past experiences and present motivation could be combined to create the future international ideals. However, improving global standards not only speaks of our strengthening of unity on issues, but on improving the way in which we come to the unity. The means of debate, the means of negotiation, and adaptation found in international diplomacy. This is truly the most important norm that we can elevate together. In the next 3 days, we take a stance, from the occupied squares of Cairo to the red squares of Russia, to expand our standards and our expectations in the process of how we come to a solution, together, to and for the rest of the world. Enhancing global standards really starts at their source, here, with all of you. Indeed, the conception of our world is one of perpetual and perpetuated crisis. Famine, disease, war, disagreement, and most importantly, disrespect all ravage our society. But the conception is not necessarily the condition. The condition, and thereafter the conception that's created upon it, is really something we decide by our present actions. We can remedy, and have begun to do so, our tale by implementing solutions that balance sovereignty with compromise, peace with punishment, appeasement with consequence, and individuality with the communal good. Yet for these 3 days you have gathered here, and in order to remedy the conception, the condition, and anything else, we really have to look towards 3 actions: to engage, to challenge, and to envision. Engage with issues, cultures, and people. Challenge norms, conventions, and problems. And envision, meaning to push forward with a definite goal whereby standards are maintained, or more often built upon, enhanced, as our theme suggests. As we transition out of the Millennium Development Goals and into the post-2015 agenda, we must truly reflect on the values that we hold close and create the vision for what we see in the future. Where we move forward not just as one nation, one political party, one objective, but as a cohesive wing built on the backbone for our mutual responsibility and understanding to all people. I started by discussing the internal conflict within humanity, conflict created by declining standards. But to every conflict, there must be a resolution, or in the case of MUN, one of your very own physical resolutions that's going to remedy our tale. Now is an exciting time, and I hope that it is not just a starting point for this weekend, but also a starting point for your ongoing journey, in accepting the responsibility to set the standard for yourself, for your peers, for the world, in whatever you embark on, primarily in the process, but then in the result that will soon follow. Thank you and welcome to PAN 14.